For years, two titans clashed, their lyrical battles echoing from Kingston to the global stage. It was more than just music. It was a cultural phenomenon, a saga of defiance, loyalty, and raw talent. Uncover the hidden history and untold stories behind Jamaican music's most legendary rivalry, Gully versus Gaza. You won't believe how deep this goes. This wasn't just about music. It was about identity. It was about survival. It was about being heard when the world tried to silence you. On one side, there was Gully, representing the grit, the struggle, and the raw energy of the streets. On the other, Gaza, a movement built on clever wordplay, audacity, and a hunger to dominate the dancehall stage. And at the center of it all were two men whose names would become legendary, Mavado and Vybz Kartel. Imagine Kingston in the early 2000s. Dancehalls packed every weekend. Youths chanting lyrics in perfect unison. Every new track wasn't just entertainment. It was a message, a declaration, a challenge. And when Gully and Gaza collided, the city felt it. The music was louder, the energy was higher, and the stakes, well, they were life-changing. So if you think you know dancehall, think again. Because the story of Gully versus Gaza isn't just told in lyrics. It's etched into the streets, in the minds of fans, and in the history of Jamaican music itself. Stay with me as we go deep into the origins, the battles, and the legacy of one of the greatest rivalries the world of music has ever seen. To understand Gully versus Gaza, we have to go back way before the headlines, before the chart-topping hits, before the sound system became battlefields. This rivalry didn't emerge from nowhere. It was born from Kingston streets, from social and economic realities, from communities seeking identity, pride, and respect. It was more than music. It was life itself. Let's start with Gully. To many, the word Gully evokes the image of struggle. The term came from inner city neighborhoods where survival meant more than just talent. It meant loyalty. It meant respect. It meant never backing down. Gully was about rising despite the odds. And the figurehead of this energy was Mavado. Born David Brooks, he was not just a singer, he was a voice for the unheard, a storyteller for the streets. Every lyric painted the life he saw around him. Every performance commanded attention, every word carried weight. Now on the other side, there was Gaza. But Gaza wasn't just a crew, it was a philosophy. It was a movement built on audacity, clever wordplay, and a refusal to submit to anyone. Led by Vybz Kartel, born Adidja Palmer, Gaza represented defiance, style, and dominance. Kartel's lyrics were witty, controversial, and unapologetically bold. Each song was carefully crafted, each verse a calculated strike in an unspoken war. Before the 2000s, dancehall was already competitive, full of energy and tension. Sound systems battled weekly. and local artists were constantly proving themselves. But this environment also created fertile ground for something bigger. The streets were ready, the youths were ready, and the stage was set for a rivalry that would not just entertain, it would define an era. In those early days, a simple track could spark weeks of debate. Fans would dissect every word, searching for hidden messages, subtle disses, or veiled threats. Alliances formed, loyalties hardened, and slowly the names Gully and Gaza weren't just labels. They were identities, lifestyles, and statements about who you were and what you believed in. So when Mavado and Kartel first crossed paths, it wasn't just two artists meeting. It was two worlds colliding, two philosophies challenging each other, and two fan bases preparing for a war that would shake Kingston and beyond. And from this collision, the legend of Gully versus Gaza was born. By the early 2000s, Mavado and Vybz Kartel had emerged as more than just talented artists. They were symbols. Each represented a world, a philosophy, a lifestyle. And as their influence grew, so too did the tension between them. Mavado, born David Brooks in Kingston's infamous Cassava Peace neighborhood, grew up with the streets as his classroom. Life wasn't easy. Opportunities were scarce. Survival required wit, courage, and loyalty. But music became his weapon, his escape, and his platform. From early performances to hits like Real McCoy and Gangsta for Life, Mavado's lyrics spoke for the streets. Every line was an anthem for those who felt unseen and unheard. His fan base, the Gully crew, was loyal, vocal, and protective. This wasn't just fandom. It was a movement. Vybz Kartel, born Adidja Palmer, had a different approach. Gaza wasn't just a crew. It was a movement, a cultural force. Kartel's lyrics were clever, provocative, and unapologetic. Each track was calculated, each verse a potential strike against the Gully movement. His influence extended beyond music, shaping language, fashion, and attitude. Fans adopted his slangs and defended him with fierce loyalty. Early jabs on tracks escalated quickly. Subtle disses turned into full-blown lyrical warfare. Sound clashes became psychological battles, and both fan bases were drawn into the conflict. DJs, producers, and entourages played their part, amplifying every move. And by 2007, Gully vs. Gaza wasn't just a rivalry. It was a cultural war. By the mid-2000s, Gully vs. Gaza had grown into a cultural earthquake. Every track, every sound, every interview was a headline event. Sound systems became arenas, and fans became warriors chanting for their side. The rivalry influenced fashion and language. Youths wore Gully and Gaza t-shirts, adopted slangs, and aligned themselves with one side. And social media amplified the battles globally, creating digital arenas where fans debated, speculated, and dissected lyrics line by line. While the rivalry inspired creativity, sharper lyrics, innovative performances, it also carried consequences. Violence occasionally flared, and communities felt the tension. Yet the legacy was undeniable. The rivalry transformed the dancehall, turning music into identity, culture, and influence. The rivalry reached its peak through pivotal tracks, explosive sound clashes, and controversial interviews. Mavado's Real McCoy subtly challenged Gaza, while Kartel responded with clever wordplay. Sound clashes became high-stakes battles where fans chanted, waved flags, and sometimes clashed themselves. Media coverage and social media amplified every move. Diaspora communities became deeply invested. Each gesture, each lyric, each interview was dissected and debated. The rivalry wasn't just a feud, it was a saga unfolding in real time, captivating Jamaica and the world. With Kartel's incarceration in 2011, the rivalry's dynamics shifted. Gaza lost its king, and Mavado explored new creative paths. Yet the legacy endured. Gully versus Gaza became a blueprint for strategy, branding, and lyrical dominance in dancehall. Social media preserved the rivalry memory. Fans relived classic clashes, analyzed lyrics, and debated who truly won. Peacemaking efforts emerged, reflecting that the rivalry had grown beyond two artists. It had become a cultural movement. Today, Gully versus Gaza is history, but its lessons remain. Rivalry can inspire greatness, shape identity, and influence culture. The war may have ended, but the echoes remain. A testament to music, loyalty, and creative genius. This concludes the drama of Gully versus Gaza, a deep dive. Thank you for listening.